going, to be honest with
Flustered.
you. Publisher, AccusedNation.com, Mike McAllister with us. Mike, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're okay. Let's start football. We do want to get into a little basketball with you, but help us with what we saw on Saturday, because we're talking about like how bad was it? Is there a difference between 56-7 or 70-7? I think it was worse than anyone anticipated, but Fran has made it known that he's going with the freshmen and going with the young guys right now to get them reps for next year. What do you kind of make of what you saw Saturday?
I don't think even the worst case scenario envisioned 21-0 before the Notre Dame offense sees the field, right? We do a thing when we're on the quad, like best case, worst case, of what could happen for Syracuse in that given game during our pregame show. And like I said, I don't think I could have envisioned that as the worst case scenario. So, yeah, it was really bad. But at the same time, to your point, I heard you talking off air, like you were, to the chat and whatnot, that you were expecting them to get crushed going into the game. They got crushed. So it kind of is what it is. And my favorite thing about sports fandom, and I do this myself, is you go into a game with a certain expectation. That exact thing happens, and then you get outraged that it happens, right? So Syracuse fans go into that game expecting Notre Dame to crush Syracuse. Notre Dame crushes Syracuse, and then it's, how could this happen? I mean,
there's levels of ugly. Like
there certainly
2
are.
out of 10.
There certainly
are. But there's something. What there? I don't normally agree with the fans being angry. There was a lot to be angry about on Saturday.
I'm just not sure what could have been done to prevent that. I guess, I understand. Well, play Ricky, et cetera. We've seen
run the ball, snap with a play clock. With 1 second left every time and run the ball. Just change your philosophy and just mitigate the damage.
That's true, but I can't envision a head coach going into a game saying, let's try to lose this by as little as possible. So we're going to run clock right from the start. We're just going to basically do different run plays so that we don't turn it over, and then hope that our defense makes them take several plays to score instead of scoring on 1 or 2 plays. That's not a game plan I can see any coaching staff implementing in any game, regardless of how lopsided it appears on paper. And, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think in the annals of Syracuse football, when you're evaluating Fran Brown and his level of success over his tenure at Syracuse, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either that's going to be the spark that everyone says, well, that's when we knew it wasn't going to work, or he's going to bring in a bunch of talent through the transfer portal, bring in the high caliber recruits that they've got, turn it around starting next year, and it's just going to be one of those, that was the exception to the rule. It was just sort of one of those things that Syracuse had to go through in order to get to where they wanted to be, which is consistently good.
What did you make of the use of the quarterbacks and the fact that, obviously Joe Filardi was struggling. We didn't anticipate we were going to see Ricky Collins. Fran didn't even mention the name Ricky Collins at his press conference last week or to us. But that he used Luke Carney, but just a little bit. And now he's played the 4 games, and we don't know if they're going to burn his red shirt and play him in the 5th game against BC or not. What do you make of, I guess, the handling of playing Carney a little bit in this game?
I was surprised. I thought that they would do that next week against Boston College when, maybe you can catch the Eagles off guard and use it for a little bit of a spark here and there, especially if, assuming Filardi's your starter again, if he was struggling a little bit. I thought that made the most sense. And I kind of thought maybe this was a game where you throw Ricky out there and let him be a sacrificial lamb, and then, next week come back with your freshman at a home environment against a much less caliber of an opponent. But yeah, it was a little curious to me. I'm also a little bit surprised that we didn't get, somewhere towards the end of the game, they didn't throw Jakari Williams out there for a possession or 2 at least. I'm a little bit baffled given all of the struggles that we've seen from the quarterback position, and we haven't seen him on the field at all, even in mop-up duty. It's curious to me. Now, again, I don't see practice, so I don't have access to the same information that all the coaches do. I'm just a little bit surprised we haven't at least seen him out there in some capacity as, mop-up duty or sacrificial lamb, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, like what does it hurt at that point? You know, when it's 49-0 or 56-0 or whatever the case may be. We saw 3 players decommit within the last 24 hours. What is your feeling on this subject? Is it a mutual parting of ways? Is it because of what happened at Notre Dame? Is this a concern at all for Syracuse football?
I don't think it's a concern. I don't believe it was a direct response to the loss to Notre Dame. The main reason I say that is because you would figure if someone in Syracuse's 2026 class is going to decide to reopen their recruitment, reevaluate their options as a result of the way that Syracuse has played for its last 7 games, that it would be someone with a lot of options, a lot of other schools continuing to pursue them. You know, the Calvin Russells, the Cameron Wilsons, the Javion Coopers, those types, the guys that are the 4 and 5 star players that are at the top of Syracuse's class in terms of their ranking. And the fact that none of those guys have it as we speak right now, then I think that's not something that I view as there was a correlation. I think the timing makes it appear as if there was a correlation. I don't think there was. I think this is simply Syracuse had a very large recruiting class, numbers wise. You look at who they think is going to come back, what positions and how hard they want to attack the transfer portal, and you got to make sure that you've got enough slots open in order to make that happen. So I also think you look at the verbiage that was used, especially by Zakir Leaks, where he said after a phone call from Fran Brown, he is elected to reopen his recruitment. That to me tells me that Fran Brown is calling him to initiate that conversation, which would then be reasonable to assume that that was coming from the Syracuse side of things as opposed to initiated by the recruit themselves. So until you start seeing those big names that they're decommitting or have a signing day surprise that they're signing elsewhere, it's nothing that I'm overly concerned about as we sit right now.
What do you make of the Luke Carney situation? Are they trying to save him from being in games in the situation that Filardi has been in so they don't ruin him? Is it we don't trust him to be on the field and throw the ball? Is it the fact that, hey, we could redshirt him next year also if Angeli stays healthy all year? Is he the guy, or will he be somewhere else next year, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything specific as far as what his plans are for next year. But it's a little curious just because we haven't seen him throw the ball at all. Very few here and there. I think he threw one pass down the field against Notre Dame, but otherwise it's been really short passes and primarily him running the ball. And so when he comes in, if I'm a defense, I know exactly what I'm expecting. I'm expecting quarterback draws and running plays. And so
I thought your dog was fake. I'm sorry. I was watching this video the whole time, and your dog didn't move, and it just moved. And I was like, oh, my God, that's not a stuffed animal. That's a real dog.
I was trying to keep him next to me, and he just decided that he wanted to be up there at the moment.
It freaked me out.
We need a reason to smile, Mike. So what's your dog's name? Give us a little dog break here. What's your dog's name?
His name is Pigpen.
Okay. How old is he?
We got him from Helping Hounds about 7 years ago or so at this point. And I never had a dog growing up, so he's my first dog. And he's small and has little man syndrome and barks at everything. So
he also stands still very well. Yes. And when he moved, the whole chat freaked out. Like, it's a real dog.
Yeah. So for those listening on the radio and not watching us on QSportsTalk.com, he's just been perched over Mike's shoulder interview, and then all of a sudden he moves. So, let's talk a little bit of basketball here, Mike, before we let you go. And I'm sure you've heard the rumors and everything with Donnie as well. Let's, I guess, for the sake of argument, say Donnie does not play tonight or play in Vegas. Again, speculation, but if he's not out there, how does that affect his team? Who do you think gets the start? How does that affect your expectations for tonight?
Well, it certainly affects my expectations, not just for tonight, but for the trip as a whole. I kind of went in thinking they had a shot to win 1, potentially 2, depending on who that third game is. I thought Kansas was a winnable game, especially when they're without one of their best players. But if Syracuse doesn't have Donnie Freeman, I think that takes a huge chunk away from what Syracuse wants to do. And one of their most productive players, I think their best player. And that certainly makes it a more challenging game. I would be completely shocked if they won tonight. As a result of that, I think it would have been tough anyway. But I think it makes the Kansas game that much more challenging and that much more difficult whenever you don't have a player of his caliber. As far as who starts, I've kind of gone back and forth in my mind as to whether I think it's going to be a Tyler Betsy or a Sadiq White. But I think maybe White, just because Betsy's been coming off the bench and played well and, seems to be comfortable in that role. But, either way, both of those guys are going to play a lot, and they're going to have to step up and be really good in order to make up for the absence of Donnie Freeman if he's unable to go.
You guys ready for a really hot take? Here's my hot take. I think this could help Syracuse in the long run if Donnie Freeman is out. You go into these games, if you're competitive and he comes back, it helps you more than, if you lose with him. Does that make sense? If you're competitive in these games, end of the year, the committee looks, you're winning games. Oh, you lost to Houston by 9 without him? Oh, okay, you're a pretty good team. So I think if you can stay competitive in these games, you'll be fine. It's just you can't go out and get boat raced like the football team did.
Yeah, I guess, but I also think if you have them, you have a pretty good chance of winning multiple games.
Yeah, you'd rather go out and win one. Yes.
Yeah, well, you might win two. Peterson's out. Bill Self said at the end of last week that, Darren Peterson is not going to play in Vegas. I think they had Notre Dame is like a 3-point underdog tonight against Kansas. Like, you telling me Syracuse couldn't beat,
Let's just see how they play without him, too. Like,
okay.
Everybody calm down.
Okay. It's going to hurt the fact
it does hurt.
If he doesn't play.
Yes, it hurts your odds of winning.
Yeah.
But if you go out and you're competitive with these guys and he comes back, I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
But just don't get boat raced.
I hope you're right. Biggest keys in this tournament, whether there's Donnie or no Donnie, Mike, in terms of, like, if the goal is to win a game or two out there, and let's say it's not tonight, but these next two nights, Tuesday and then either Wednesday or Thursday, what's the biggest key for Syracuse?
I think it starts with defense. I understand the rebounding's been an issue, specifically in that Monmouth game, but I think it starts with defense. Syracuse, I believe, is number 1 in the country in points allowed per game, and I think Houston's number 2. But if Syracuse wants to stay in these games, if you're missing one of your best players in Donnie Freeman and one of your best offensive players, one of the ways that you can combat that is by playing well defensively. The defense can keep you in games that you otherwise wouldn't expect to be in. So I want to see Syracuse show that defensive intensity that they showed in the first 3 games for 40 minutes in each game down in Vegas. And if they do that, I think that'll keep them in the competitive range, as you said, Paulie, to try to make a statement. Because if you lose to Houston in the fashion Paulie just outlined, and then you're able to beat Kansas even without Donnie Freeman, almost regardless of what happens in that third game outside of getting boat raced, to use a Paulie term again, then you feel like it's a successful trip if you don't have Donnie Freeman, because I think you've showcased yourself well that you're a good team and can compete with these teams. And then you get a key win in your non-conference schedule, and then you just hope that Donnie can come back soon and see how things play out. And if you can pull off a win against Tennessee at home, now you're really off and running.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and I think people are misconstruing what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying if they go out and play well without him, it's a good thing.
Yeah, you got to win some games.
Yes.
And Donnie helps you win games.
Yes.
So if he's not out there, it's a big loss, but you make do. Mike, thank you as always for the time. We'll see you on the TV side of things tonight, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and good job to Pigpen. Way to hang in there.
You've got to do camera every time now. People are demanding.
All right, Mike, we'll see you later tonight. We got to take a time out. Phone line's back open. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.